Come and sit up nice and tall. Breathe easy. And just feel where the breath goes on the inhale, where it goes on the exhale. You don't need to sit up tall or be tall, or just breathe. Hopefully just feel the breath fill the whole trunk. And I believe the less quote unquote, tall we feel, the easier it is to breathe. It's counterintuitive, and some people don't like that feeling. All right, and we're going to chant one Om to begin. Let's inhale together. Om. Let the eyes open softly. And come on up to stance. Sorry, kid. Stand at the front of the mat. It's really interesting. I actually like the new camera setup, with the exception of you can't see my arm, but I feel like the close-up works better. Stand up nice and tall. Take the thighs back. Put the legs into their sockets. Find level at base of the rib cage. Let your arms hang. Whatever it is that makes you feel like you're stacking your bones and freeing your muscles. And when I say freeing your muscles, there are deep core muscles that are always working to hold you up, but there are a lot of muscles that should be able to relax, especially your big butt muscle, gluteus maximus. All right, bring the arms up. Take the right wrist with the left hand, turn the right palm to face the left, and side stretch over to the left. And back up, switch wrists, so the right wrist takes the left hand, left palm faces the right, and stretch over to the right, trying to keep the pelvis relatively on top of the ankles, not sliding sideways too much. That was interesting. All in the side body, QL. Nice, and come on up. Just doing the usual shoulder stretches, left arm up, turn the left hand back, drop the left hand down the back, right arm out to the side, bring the right arm back and around. Hopefully you can get that elbow to point straight up. I used to really do it all the time with my arm behind my head. Now I'm looking for this straight line from the elbow to the shoulder to the hip to the ankle. Pull the ribs down and try to breathe into that right wrist. And switch. Right arm up, turn the right palm back, drop the right hand down the back, bring the left arm back and around. I mean, it's just so natural for me to take that arm behind my head, but I really prefer now this more tricep action. Breathe into the left wrist. Nice, and release. One more shoulder, right arm underneath the left. Wrap the arms so you can bring the palms to touch. Keep thinking thighs back, ribs down. This pose, amongst other things, it's really a deltoid stretch up the shoulders, but it's a matter of how much can you separate the arms from the rib cage. I can pull my ribs down and my arms up, and you're trying to look to that separation in the arms so that you can move the arms without moving the trunk. And unwind and rewind, left arm underneath the right, palms to touch. Press the palms in, and again, just trying to get a feeling of that ability to create separation between the trunk and arm, shoulder. Nice, and release. Standing balance, left foot parallel. Check for parallel. It doesn't mean you shouldn't maybe some days do this pose, you know, with the foot turned out. For me, the pose is much easier with the foot turned out. So I like focusing on parallel. So left foot parallel, bend the right knee behind you, take hold of the right foot with the right hand, bring the left arm up if that's how you like to do it. Get anything I can. No, that is it. It's just weird. And you're turning the right hip and right shoulder forward and pulling the right leg back and pulling the belly in and up. And holding on to something is fine. And release. Bend the left leg, take hold of the left foot with the left hand, bring the right arm up. Enjoy the balance, right? So many things are going on here, but amongst them is that your right foot should be going crazy on the floor, helping the balance. But also turn the left hip forward, turn the left shoulder forward, pull the left leg back into the midline, and release. Stand tall, take the thighs back, take the ribs down, just breathe easy. Let's bow forward over the legs for a standing forward bend. So this is just different for everybody. If it's easy to put your hands on the floor, you can come onto your fingertips. You can put the palms flat. If you're looking to work harder and you're longer, you can have your hands by your feet. You can turn your hands around in the other direction. There's lots of different ways to do this forward bend. And you can swing around if you want. You can take your elbows even. Just going to stay bent over in the forward bend for a little bit. I've been really into swaying lately. You can sway with your arms down. You can try to stabilize the pelvis and sway. Nice, come on up. All right, let's grab a tennis ball. We're going to do the same balancing stuff I've been really enjoying. But first, we're going to roll out the feet, do some foot exercises. Actually, let's do the foot exercises first, and then again after the tennis ball. So look at your feet. Have the feet a couple of inches apart. Spread the toes. And lift all 10 toes. Spread them out, spread all the toes apart, and try to put the toes down on the floor with no toes touching. Now, if you're looking down at your feet, you're almost guaranteed to have your thighs back and your ribs down. It's a really nice little cue. Relax the feet. Lift all 10 toes, spread them apart, and put them back on the mat or floor with no toes touching, so you see between each and every toe to the best of your ability. Let's say you can't do that. You can bend down and start helping the toes, right? Spread them out, get them moving. Nice, release, relax that. One more time. Lift all 10 toes, spread the toes open, put them down, no toes touching. Nice. And relax. Nice. Just the big toes. Lift. I just realized we have not been doing this much at all. Lift just the big toes. Look at the big toes. Put them down. Lift just the big toes again. But I want you to see if they're moving straight up. They should not be moving towards the second toe. Big toes should be lifting straight up. Pull them towards each other. Lower them down. One more time, 3 of each. Lift the big toes. Spread the other toes open. Don't grip your butt. Your hands can try to help, but they won't. And lower the big toes. Put the big toe down. Lift the other 8 toes up and spread those toes open. And then try to put the pinky toe down. With the middle 4 toes of each foot, lift it. And release. Big toes down, other 8 toes up, spread those toes open. This is footwork. This is good exercises for your feet that you can do daily And people don't nearly have strong enough feet, and I'm realizing, and release, that my hands might not be as strong. One more time, big toe down, lift the other toes up, spread the toes open, and put those pinky toes down with the big toes up and no other toes up on the floor. Don't grip the butt, etc., etc. And release. Nice. Tennis ball into the right foot. Yeah, so I'm realizing I might need more grip strength. I might be, I need to start paying attention maybe to a little more grip strength. I have strong hands, but getting old is interesting. So, roll that tennis ball on the right foot. Use it strong or not strong, right? I just push down as hard as I can. Hard as I can. I've been doing a lot more self-massage. I've mentioned on these classes my knee injury that has not really healed as well as I like, though it feels good today. So I've been doing a lot more calf massages, self-massages on my soleus and my calf to release the connection between the knee and the ankle and big toe that I feel is part of my issue, and it feels like it's going well. Keep rubbing just the right foot. You'll get a little, you get a little sensation, a little trick in a second. Grip the ball with your toes, right? As if you could lift the ball up. All right, release the right foot and bow forward over the right. Both bow forward over the legs and see if you can feel the difference in the two sides, because the difference in the two sides is probably pretty great. That right side should be a lot softer and more relaxed than the left. Nice, come on up. Second foot, left foot. Get in there nice and strong. "26 bones in the feet, 33 articulations in those joints, right? 33 joints to move. Foot is incredibly adaptable to surface, and it's why I try to be barefoot as much as I can and walking. I'm so excited because it's still not spring-like here in Cleveland, but I broke out my minimal sneakers yesterday for an hour-long walk, first one of the season. And it's fascinating because my feet, after months of winter shoes, my legs felt totally different yesterday afternoon after that walk with barefoot shoes, because your feet just do, and it was on cement, it was local. Your feet just do really different things when there's not in supportive shoes. So you want, in life, as much of that adaptation within your foot as possible. We are not designed to wear shoes. So it makes sense to, it's winter, I wear very warm boots. But I get at them as soon as I can, and I never wear shoes in my house. Though I wear slippers, because what I've realized is socks are so poorly made, and if I don't wear slippers, I destroy my socks. All right, and release. Feet a couple of inches apart. Let's bow forward to feel that, just both sides, nice and released, loose. You can sway a little if you want. Swaying should be freer and looser and easier. All right, come on up. We're going to do the balance things I've been doing in a minute, but first let's look at the toes. Lift all 10 toes and see if it's easier to lift all 10 toes. Spread them open, put them back down. We'll just do each one twice and release. Lift all 10 toes, spread them open. Put the toes down, no toes touching. And release. Lift just the big toes. Just the big toes. And put them down. Lift just the big toes. And put them down. Lift all the other 8 toes. So big toes down, 8 toes up. Spread those toes open, pinky toes down, keeping the middle 6 up. That's just about work. It's just about moving the toes and feeling the muscles and not locking the knees to do it and not gripping the butt to do it. Nice, and release. So we'll do that set of balancing exercises I've been enjoying lately. If you need to hold on to something, do not hesitate. Just the bottom line is balancing and holding on to something if you need it is still balancing and still developing balance. Left foot parallel, right foot just up off the floor. I bend the knee and I take the foot barely off the floor, 2 or 3 inches. But I'm also keeping my hips forward and I'm not letting that leg trail behind me or out to the side. Just keeping the two legs in the same plane. Stick the butt out so you make sure that left leg is in its socket. And release. We're going to do a number of these, so it's going to wear on the leg, so be nice to yourself. Left leg up. We're just doing these same variations we've been working on. Again, not letting that left leg trail behind you. That's pelvic muscles, pelvic stability or instability, and lower the left leg. Right leg up. Turn the head to the right. Back to center. Turn the head to the left. Back to center. Turn the head to the left. Back to center. Turn to the right. Back to center. And release. I'm going to start adding some more variations next week. Left foot up. Turn to the left. Back to center. Turn to the right. Back to center. Turn to the right. Back to center. Turn left. Back to center. So there's a lot going on because I really love this action of the turning because that's this like internal equilibrium. But there's also the fact of, the more breaths we stay here, these muscles are working. All right, right foot up and close your eyes. Enjoy the movement. And release. And I've been doing these, I'm getting better, It was really rough for me when I started. Left foot up. I suggest finding the balance, looking straight ahead and closing the eyes. Head position is really key. And release. Feel the difference in the two sides. All right, right foot up. Close the eyes. So try to get that looking straight ahead orientation. Turn right. Back to center. Turn left. Back to center. And release. Not so. This second part for me with the eyes closed is just hard. Left leg up. Close the eyes. Establish that first. Turn left. Back to center. Turn right. Back to center. Turn right. Back to center. Left. And back to center. Well done, nicely done. All right, come on to your hands and knees. Cat and cow. Supple spine versus solid spine. In cat and cow, you're looking to find the supple spine. It moves. All the vertebrae can roll in one. They click, 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 click around each other. In an ideal world, there's no congestion in the spine. Just try to feel, if you can, where there's movement coming, where there is not. Right? So in this, we are free. You can be engaging muscle if you want. You can engage your abs, but still keep this movement going, right? Right, come back to neutral. And now it's solid spine. And you're going to find out almost immediately how solid your resting tone is. So right hand comes a ½ inch off the floor. Stick your butt out so there is a gentle, tiny little curve in the lower back, and take the left knee off the floor. Solid spine. You want no change when that second limb comes off the floor, right? Right hand and left knee are up, and there's one muscle deep in your low spine called multifidus that's firing, but if you tucked under, when you take that knee up, it's not firing. And release. Try to understand that. You want to have that curve for these muscles to work best. So again, solid spine. Left hand up a ½ inch. Right knee up a ½ inch. So when we say flat back, it means curve in the lower spine, curve in the neck that mirror each other. And release. Back to supple spine. Cat and cow. Yeah, I can't say how much we want both. We want the ability to be fluid and the ability to be solid, and that is really an elusive thing to find. All right, back to neutral, back to solid spine, right arm forward, left leg back. Turn that left hip down. You can point the left foot or flex the left foot, but you don't want to overly arch the lower back. You want to make sure that those back ribs are open and breathing. And release. Second side. So you're solid here, right? Before we move, get that curve in the lumbar. So everything is in your spine is where you want it. Left arm comes forward, right leg goes back, no change in the trunk. Turn that right hip down maybe a little. Work that right foot. It can be pointed or flexed. Left arm up in line with the ear. And release. Cat and cow. Couple more. Or I should say just one more. You can change it up. You can move backwards if you want. You can move forwards. You can move side to side. It's just about movement. Back to neutral. Right arm, left leg. And if you're up for it, you're going to bend that left leg and search for the left foot with the right hand. And then pull that leg into the middle, right? Don't let the left leg get pulled out to the side. Open the right shoulder. You can even look over the right shoulder as you lift up. Don't worry if you can't find the foot. That should be a quad stretch. And release. Left arm, right leg. Bend that right leg. Find the foot and hand. Open the trunk. That right leg would like to lift up high. The left shoulder would like to lift up towards the ceiling. Look over the left shoulder if you're feeling steady. And release. One more, cat and cow. All right, we're going to come to sit. Sit with the legs wide apart, feet flexed. Sit up tall, and if you need to, sit on something. And what I mean is if you took your hands away, there should really be no action in your trunk if you're upright. And again, that always means the curve in the lower spine, right? If I go here and my pelvis tucks under, I lose a lot of support and there's a struggle here. But if I can get to the front of the sit bones, even though that requires a certain looseness, the trunk just lets go. The spine stacks and everything's easy. From that place, so you might need to sit on something to make that happen. Try to come forward, maybe onto your forearms. Keep the legs really active. Feet flexed, pull the pinky toes back. Maybe come further forward. Don't worry if you do not. If you walk forward, you can put your hands on the floor and use your hands to actually push your hips back as you try to get your spine further forward. It's a kind of nice counteraction. Come on up. Walk around to the right leg. So start just by sitting upright and turning over the right leg. And then start walking forward, pulling the right waist back, turning the left shoulder in. Hands are alongside the calves, but maybe you can bring the left hand to the outside of the right foot. Then stay grounded in the left sit bone and turn right. Maybe bow forward a little bit. The thing about bowing forward is you're trying to pull the right waist back as you pull the trunk forward. Come on up. Walk around to the left leg. And wrap forward. Hands alongside the calves. A lot of the trunk, it's turning that rib cage in. Maybe bringing the right hand to the left foot. Back up. Sit up tall. Tarasana. Soles of the feet together in a diamond. Lift and lengthen and bow forward. I always wrap my hands around my fingers to press the feet together. Come on up. Baddha Konasana, pulling the feet in as close as you can, pressing the feet together and letting the knees go wide. I don't push the knees out. Just sit up tall. And in all of these things, you can just be working to sit up tall. But if you can come forward without the head going first, feel free to come forward a little bit. But it's extension through the waist. Lengthening the waist. And back up. All right, lay flat on your back. You're going to try to get the base of your rib cage as close to the floor as you can while maintaining a small curve in the lower back. So not everyone can flatten the lower back to the floor, but if you can, feel free to flatten the lower back and then stick your butt out as little as you can to take the lower back off the floor so it has a small curve, but flattening the lower back usually helps you get the ribs down. And then inhale, exhale. Inhale again, and exhale, push the exhale. When you do that, ideally you feel your belly drop down. Now I want you to do it differently this time. Feel that curve in the lower back so the lower back is not on the floor, and pull your navel to the spine and like suck your belly in without changing the lower back. So you're pulling in your abs and you're trying to not change that curve in your lower back. And then see if that same thing happens when you inhale and exhale really hard. That's one muscle. That's deep abdominal muscle in your transverse, right? Now, lift your head and shoulders and look towards your knees. And when you lift your head and shoulders and look towards your knees, you should feel a totally different muscle engage. That's your sit-ups muscle, the rectus abdominis that goes up and down. And lower the head back down. Just do that one more time to feel it. Head and shoulders lift up. Feel if that muscle engages and you get a sense of that. That is two different muscles. One is the transverse abdominis that wraps from the back to the front and engages like a corset. And the second runs up and down, pulls the rib cage to the pelvis and vice versa. That is the rectus abdominis. Let's see which engages for you without thinking too much about it. Take the right foot 3 inches up off the floor and take the left foot 3 inches to meet it and see if anything changed in your trunk. Ideally, there was no shift in the spine. Lower the feet down. That's what you're looking for. It's sort of like this concept of what is the resting tone. Left foot up 3 inches. Right foot 3 inches to meet it. Was there any change in the spine when that second foot came up? Ideally not, and if there was, you're working to stabilize that. Bring the shins up to the height of the floor, right? Parallel to the floor, sorry. So shins are at the height of the knees. And then maybe go forward a little bit, but it's about keeping the ribs in, the ribs down, while maintaining a little arch in the lower back. Maybe take the feet further forward. It depends on how far you want to work. Just don't straighten legs. Keep the tiniest bend in the knees wherever you end up. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'm working a little more as the leg. If you want to work even more, get lower. The lower your legs come, the harder it is to maintain that solid spine. Bring the knees back in and lower the feet. All right. So now we're going to do some plank work and like push-up, yoga push-up work. And you can do it from, we're going to all do it together from the knees because I think it's really good work. So it's a great way to build some core strength. Come onto your hands and knees. When I teach lowering from plank to chaturanga, I teach lowering straight down. But when you're on your knees, we're gonna bow forward. So it's like we're doing 3 yoga push-ups. So the difference between yoga push-ups and Western push-ups are yoga push-ups, elbows stay by your side. Western push-ups, arms are wider. So yoga push-ups. So here's all you're gonna do from your hands and knees. You're gonna bend your elbows in, lower halfway down, and come back up. Try to keep your upper back soft. Lower, bow forward, halfway, come back up. Same thing. So you're leaning forward, you're bending forward, your elbows are in, but your trunk is solid, and back up. So that is a great way to build strength without, sacrificing the lower back or the hips or the pelvis. So we're going to start trying to do a little more of that. Walk your hands forward, probably 4 or 6 inches further forward, and we're going to come to downward facing dog. Hips up, heels back, hands in and down. Down dog is all about stretching the back of the body. Come onto your knees again. Look at your pinky fingers. Make sure the pinkies aren't too wide. Make sure the thumbs are not too wide. I like index fingers parallel. That keeps the creases of my wrist straight across the mat. Back to downward dog. Right away, bring your weight to the inner foot. Don't collapse to the outer foot. Spread the weight evenly through the toes. And come forward to plank pose. Now you can be on your knees if you want, but establish plank. And back to downward dog. Back to plank. A hallmark of plank is where is your head in relation to everything else. And when the core is not really there, the head drops. Downward dog. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. Come to your knees for a break if you want. And then we're going to do a longer plank, which you can come out of anytime you want. So if you're on your knees, back to down dog. And forward to plank. Pinky's not too wide. Inner hand grounded. Thumbs not too wide. Upper spine soft. You really can't control it. If the core isn't there, your head is going to drop. But if the core is there, it's likely you can keep your ears up in line with your shoulders. Legs really strong and straight. Another 30 seconds if you can hang in there. Make sure you're not losing that inner hand. Inner hand down, knuckle of the index finger. Breathe easy. Wherever you're at, see if you can relax the breath. You guys look great. 10 more seconds. Inner hand, inner foot. Don't overdo it. Down dog. Child's pose. Nice, easy breath. Whenever you're trying to build up anything new, just don't stay as long as you shouldn't. You know, don't come out of it anytime you need to. And slowly but surely, stamina gets, increases. But there's no particular rush. Nice. Come to sit and grab a block or a book. And then we're going to sit with a block between the thighs. And it could be a pillow as well. But a yoga block can be really helpful. And your hands are going to be behind you to start. Susan, probably walk your feet back a little bit. Yeah, that's also relative. So with the hands behind us, try to get to the whole foot, right? Make sure your whole foot is connected to the floor. So I just moved my, that will work fine. Find the inner foot, push the big toes down. Squeeze the block. Open the chest. Try to find a flat back. So it's like stick your butt out a little bit. Curve the lower back. So if you wanted to make that easier, you walk the feet further forward, right? That makes it easier to get into the straight spine. And then try to maintain the straight spine and bring the hands off the floor and arms alongside the knees. And you want to sit up tall. You want to feel that you can keep the thighs engaged against the block, but also keep that length in the lower back without rounding out, without pulling out of it. And release, hands behind your back. Stay squeezing to the block or the ball. Really stay squeezing to the midline. Same thing again, arms alongside your hips. Press the inner foot down, squeeze, and then if you're feeling good, for one, you can hold on to your thighs if you really want. You're going to lean backwards a little more, but not rounding. Open the chest. Pull the shoulders back. And for me, I am working to keep the big toes down, because there's a point where I just can't keep the feet grounded, and that's how I know if I went back too far. Squeeze the block, press the toes down. Come back up, and hands behind your back. Nice, one more time. Chest open, squeeze the block. If you want to work harder, you walk the feet back a little closer and release. Then you lean backwards to a flat back if that works for you. Press the big toes down. Open the chest, don't overdo it. Try to open the upper back, pull the shoulders back. And release. Nicely done. Take the block away. And come lay flat on your back. So nice and easy. You're going to keep the feet flat to the floor, hip distance apart or a little wider. Come onto the left hip, let the right knee drop in. Come onto the right hip, let the left knee drop in. And just keep doing that. So you're keeping the feet on the floor. You're going to the inner foot and the outer foot, but the feet stay planted. But you're just kind of rocking side to side a little bit. Another couple of seconds. And come on back up. And now we're going to separate the feet wider apart. And this time we do come off the foot. You go to the drop to the right. You're on the outer right foot, inner left foot. And come on back up again. And again. So windshield wipers. You can add to it as you go, like I'm starting to pull more through that right knee down, get a little more internal rotation through the leg. Another couple of breaths. And back up. Parallel feet. So we're going to come to bridge without a block. No block. Stick your butt out. Lift your hips. Keep the feet grounded and just come up to a small low bridge. And lower down. So we're going to do a series of bridges, mostly about that length of time. So you can just work on that, just being in the bridge. But we're also going to start lifting the leg, one of the legs. So you'll see how that goes. Back up to bridge, not too high, but if you wanted to go high, you go up higher in the upper chest. Take the right knee into the chest. If you want to lift the leg, stretch the right leg up, trying to keep the right leg in line with the right side of the trunk. Lower the right foot,
Lower the hips. Hips back up. Nice and easy. Stay strong in that right foot. Lift the left leg up. You're not trying to like elevate it because I want you to try to keep the left side of the hips level. Nice. Lower the left hip and lower down. We're going to do that again without taking a break in between sides. Nice and easy. Hips up. Knee into the chest. Stretch the legs straight. Stay a breath or two longer. Level pelvis. Legs stay in line. Lower the right leg. I switch weight into that right foot. Left leg up. Try and keep both sides of the pelvis level. It's really easy to lift that left hip too high. It's not what we're looking for. Lower the left leg and lower down. So one more series, we'll do 2 without coming down. So don't do that if you don't want. You can just do bridge, you can lift the legs, you can be done. Easy breath, lift up. Right leg up. Lower down. Left leg up. Lower down. You don't want the right leg moving to the right or left. Right leg up, it's just straight up. Lower down. And left leg up. Lower down. And release. Nice. One more bridge. No leg lifting. Put a block between the thighs if you want. Not if you don't. We'll do 1 minute. Easy breath. Stay grounded to the midline. Inner foot, inner thigh. Lift up. If you're gripping your butt, you're likely constricting your SI joint. You want to roll to the inner thighs. Inner thighs roll in and down. Open the SI. Release gluteus maximus to work as it's designed. Nice, easy breath. Try to feel the weight. You want to be even. You don't want to be more on one foot than the other. You don't want one femur head more internally and externally rotated than the other. That's really subtle things to feel. Sorry. Stay 15 more seconds. Lower down. Stretch the legs out straight. Take the right knee into the chest and twist. Bring the right knee across the left side of the body. Bring the right arm out to the side. So you can take that right knee at least to the height of the hip, but it can go all the way to the floor, depending upon your hips. Right arm, it could be any height you like. I like it 45 degrees over the shoulder, which brings the pecs and upper chest into it. But we're also just releasing here. Nice, back up. Switch sides, left knee into the chest and twist. Left knee across the right side of the body. And the left arm comes out and up. Just do the same thing you did on both sides, whatever it is you chose. Back up. Let's do one more. Right knee into the chest, and twist. So I just adjust the pelvis to stack the hips to let that right knee get down. Keep that left leg active, look over the right shoulder, pick the height for the right arm. Again, I'm just looking for that little upper chest involvement. Back up, switch, last pose, left knee in, left arm out and up. And back up. Shavasana. Let everything release and relax. Begin to deepen the breath. Move the fingers and the toes. Allow the head to move softly from side to side. Bend the knees. Roll to the right side. And when you're ready, come on up to sit in a comfortable position. Sit up tall, breathe easy. I'm going to chant one Om to finish. Let's inhale together. Make gentle fists. Place them in the low abdomen, and we'll bow forward to seal in today's practice. Om Bolo Shri Sadguru Bhagavata Ki Jai. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for your effort. Welcome, Barbara. And I'll see you Tuesday.